What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another fantasy football video. This one's going to be, is Dion Lewis worth a draft pick? And the answer is basically, it depends. You have to look at your roster size and your league settings. Is it standard or PPR? That plays a big role, but the biggest role is, do you have an IR spot? If you do not have an IR spot, and for those of you who don't know, I guess what that is, it's basically if anyone is considered out on your team each week, or is on the PUP list like Dion Lewis will be, they can be thrown into the IR and it doesn't take up a bench spot. If your league does not have one of those, the answer is no. He is not worth a roster spot. I know the Patriots. I watch the Patriots. I've seen how they deal with injuries. They're gonna keep it safe with Dion Lewis. They have a bye in week 9, which means that the first week he's allowed to come back is week 7. That is the earliest you could possibly have Dion Lewis on your team. Let's say he's only going to be ready for week 8. They're not going to play him. They're going to keep it safe. They're going to wait for the bye. That means that week 10 is the first week that you're going to have Dion Lewis. That means for all those other weeks, you need to hold a bench spot for a guy who will not be playing. And that's tough to do. So if you're in a standard scoring league especially, standard scoring, no IR spot, do not draft Dion Lewis. Maybe pick him up in like week 8 or something when maybe your team's doing really well and you have that roster spot, but you cannot draft him in a standard league with no IR spot. In a PPR league with no IR spot, it's the same. Maybe pick him up a little sooner because he's going to be a little more dominant when he does come back. Maybe try and target him in like week 6 maybe. If your team's looking solid week 5, week 6, and you can't have that spot. But honestly, if you don't have an IR spot, do not draft Dion Lewis. I mean, it's just too much of a risk at that point for every single week. You have a guy on your bench that will not be putting up points, can't fill in for buys, can't fill in for anyone who's injured, and we don't even know technically if he is going to come back in week 10. I would expect week 10, and at that point, if you're not in the playoff contention, you've just wasted a roster spot for the whole year that could have helped you out a lot. If you do have an IR spot, things change. If you have an IR spot, I would look for Dion Lewis around, in a PPR league, maybe the 10th round. Because in the 10th round, that's going to be guys like Chris Ivory, Blunt, Forsett, Powell. You could, basically, when you draft him, immediately after the draft, you can throw him into the IR spot and you can pick up whoever you want off waivers. So if you're in the 10th, 11th round and you want Dion Lewis, if you have an IR spot, I think that's good value because, yes, if someone gets hurt on your team, you don't have that spot, but he's going to be so good, especially in PPR leagues, when he comes back, that he's not taking up that bench spot. I think he's worth it. So in a PPR league with an IR spot, I think if you want to pull the trigger in the 10th round, go for it. Standard league, maybe wait till about the 12th round and don't be disappointed if he gets taken. But that's only an IR spot. So if you do not have an IR spot in your league, don't draft him. If you do, in your standard league, wait till about the 12th round. In a PPR league, you can probably take him in the 10th round. So that's the end of the video. If you watched this far, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.